Hello friends, welcome back to Scrapbook Your Legacy with Carrie. Today I'm going to do a walkthrough of a trip to Colorado, the album for that, in preparation for doing another trip to Colorado and doing some technique layouts with that album. For this one, I wanted to show you the Fast to Fab pages. Creative Memories has some great Fast to Fab pages in different colorways. They're not necessarily collection specific, but they have colorways that work with their different collections. Fast to Fab are great for a travel album because they make it easy. They allow you to stretch your papers. And they are also great for using for albums that are a year in review. So this album, I used this set of Fast to Fab pages. So I'm going to show you some different things that I did. This is the title page. I find title pages are a little overlooked, but they are a fun way to be creative. My day-to-day albums, those title pages are a little more simpler than these, but this one I had fun with. I just did a circle cut. And then I have a silhouette, so I cut out this design and just laid it over the wood design. I also used a large format photo for this. This is a 5x7. This collection here is from Copper Canyon. That was from a couple years ago, and it was just a small mini collection that they had, and they had scratch-ons in that. So there's some of that in here as well. So this is Fast to Fab behind here, so I didn't have to do much for this page for it to turn out nicely. This here, I used the Creative Memories Border Maker cartridge system, and then I tore some of the paper. So again, Fast to Fab behind, I did not have to use much paper. I just did a strip here and then tore some paper here just for some added interest. I do print from home. It gives me a little more flexibility where I can take a 5x7 and turn it into two 3.5x5s. So those are some of the things that I did here, doing a simple grid technique as well. Here is a larger format photo. This is 8.5x11. When I have trips that I take and I have scenic photos, I go through and I take the time to select the ones that I want to enlarge. I'm not going to enlarge all of them, but there's certain ones that I like to do just to appreciate the scenery better. And then here I did a title right on top of the photo, and then I laid a photo on top of it. So sometimes there's sections of the photo, the larger one, that you don't have to worry about so much. So I just did an inset photo here. For the matte on these photos, I did the Creative Memory scallop edge that made it look a little more like a postcard or a stamp. Again, simple grid technique with a larger format photo over here to fit as many on as possible. And behind it, I just did two strips of paper in the green behind it on top of the Fast to Fab. I do have dies, and so these trees were made from dies. But you can take your Creative Memory stamps or punches and cut them up and use them as embellishments as well. All right, again, simple grid technique. Here I have a layered border. Sometimes Creative Memories sell these, and they are wonderful. I just turned it on its side here. It was mountains with rolling hills in the front, but I put it on its side because it was just really more interest and texture. This embellishment cluster here, these are older. They're from, I think, a combination of fall and winter or Christmas collection. They were 12-inch foliage, and I just cut them up and layered them behind the stickers and tags that came with the collection. Again, strips of paper on top of a Fast to Fab page. Title on top. I also do a little bit of stamping. I'm not a big stamper, but I do have some title stamps, and so I like to add those to the paper. It's just a way to do some creativity in a different way. Vellum. Vellum is wonderful. You can lay it over a photo to create some mystery as to what's behind it. It's also great for journaling so that you're not covering up as much of the page or taking away from your photos. I used a sticker maker to back the vellum, but if you don't have something like that, you can just use regular adhesive and then slide it under your photo and then do your journaling beneath the photo. And then again, title on top. Now for this Fast to Fab page layout, I did not add any other papers. It's just the photos. I didn't even back the photos. So vellum, photos, Fast to Fab. On this layout, again, I have another layered border. And then a border maker cartridge over here, which you can't see too well, but there's the border maker cartridge. On this layout, I used the Creative Memories peekaboo pockets. So there's a 6x12 here and then a 4x4 here. And that's just a wonderful way to get more photos on your page. Again, you will notice that the only paper I used was for the peekaboo pocket. The rest is just the Fast to Fab page as is. Here I did back the photos. Again, you see the title on the photo. Don't be afraid to do that. On this one, I did cut out some designer paper and then layered a border maker cartridge over it. I think this is like their mirrored diamond cartridge. I think it might still be available. Some of these are older collections and cartridges that I have used. Here is another simple grid layout with some simple embellishing to fit as many pictures as possible. Here I have smaller peekaboo pockets. These are not Creative Memories, but don't be afraid to use a smaller flip flap or peekaboo pocket over a larger picture. It looks a little bit like it's inset, but then when you lift it up, you can see the other photos. And I don't think that looks bad to do that. I thought through how I was going to do it. This was a winter, I'm losing my words, laser cutout, laser border. There we go. And I just used it here because it's pine trees. Does it matter that it's winter? You can't really tell that there's snow in there. It kind of has a snowy, dusted look, but many times there's snow in the mountains. Here I used a different setting on my camera, and my husband and I ended up looking a little bit like Oompa Loompas. I was trying to take pictures of the foliage with a vivid setting on my camera, and I did a little bit of that here, and it looks great with the foliage, but I didn't realize for us it was going to turn us orange. So I left it as is because it was just kind of funny that that was happening. And also here I used some of, I think you can see it, here you go. These are fall leaves, and I just add them in because one, it's a little bit of color, and then it's just nice to have some other leaves to add to the layout. And don't be afraid to use different seasons with your photos. All right, again, this one, I did not use a lot of paper. It's mostly the Fast to Fab. I have a strip here and a strip of paper here. Sometimes Creative Memories will make photographic paper as some of their design paper, and it looks like a photograph. And sometimes they're hard to use. But here I cut a strip, one for the color, and it just added a little interest to the page, bringing all the colors in. Here I cut that same paper with my mountain punch, and then I tore a little bit here just to tie the color in around the page. I used another scratch on from the Copper Canyon collection. This is one of their peekaboo pockets, and then just tucking tags in behind for interest, and that completed this page. I don't think I have any other peekaboo pockets, so it was just that one. Here I backed the photos. Again, scenery, trying, just be selective when you're picking your 8.5 by 11s, and then a simple sticker, and the page is done. That's how quickly those Fast to Fab pages work. So it makes it so much easier. I'm not one who normally does things on a diagonal, but I think it does add interest toward the paper. One thing that is fun to do with the Creative Memories punches is layering them. So I have a pine tree punch, the mountain punch, and then the cloud punch here behind, one behind the other, to just create some interest at the bottom of the page. That's all I did. I'm cutting out my title with my silhouette. So very simple. And then done. Here's the vivid setting for the flowers, which I think looks great, but not so great on people. This one, simple, just created some tags, cutting them with scissors. And then just a simple square. So very simple layout. Didn't have to do much, but I think it has impact. Here's a 4-square grid where you could put design elements in here if you wanted to. I just left it blank. And then I layered a couple different papers here. I have the bark for some texture, and then I used the corner rounder here and just did the larger piece of paper to back my photos, and then it's done. Here I used, again, leaves from the fall, border maker cartridge. There's a little bit of matting for the pages, a couple of banners here, and then done. I think this particular color was great for these photos, this color on this Fast to Fab page. Another grid layout with a peekaboo pocket where I could do my journaling behind it. Another inset photo. Here I took a 12 by 12 border, which was cut with my border maker cartridge, and I cut it in half and used it in 2 areas. So don't be afraid to cut your 12 by 12 or your 12-inch borders, whether they're laser cuts, stickers, whatever. Don't be afraid to cut them and use them differently. Here I have the diamond border maker cartridge, but I layered stickers. I layered a sticker 12-inch border down the middle of it. Here I carried that same sticker over to this side, and I used a different layered border here just for some added interest. I used the vivid settings, so play with your camera settings if you are up to that. Again, Fast to Fab page, very simple. Backed this large photo, backed this grouping of photos, and then done. It's just a great way to get an album done quickly with minimal work into it. This one, I did smaller format photos here. These might be 2x3s. And then this, if you don't have the border maker cartridge system, when you purchase it, it comes with the picket fence. The picket fence here has, well, like the pickets at the top, but I layered it under the paper so it looks a little more like a railroad track if you use your imagination. So that was the intent here, to have it look like a railroad track coming along underneath. That border maker cartridge, the picket fence, is very versatile and I love it. Here I cut more of the pine 12-inch laser cut border to use it for embellishing. Again, here I used my tag punch to create different size tags to layer behind the stickers. I was starting to run out of my embellishments and stickers, so I was just using the papers to bring interest in the different sizes. Well, I don't know if they still have a punch for tags, but ours goes from 1 inch to 2 inch to 2.5 inch, so you can get different size tags. And then that's all I did for this with the Fast to Fab. Here, again, border maker cartridge. This is the infinity chain. Just layered some paper behind some of these photos to bring some interest in and have them stand out. This was from my stash, an old title, journaled right on the paper. I think the only other thing I did was like a little stamp here, but basically the Fast to Fab page, a little bit of extra stuff, and done very quickly. And look at, my husband and I aren't orange anymore. We're back to normal. This one, I always have fun with botanical garden pages, and I love going to botanical gardens. So here I use some of our old embellishments from a floral collection that we had. I'll think of the name here in a minute. But the paper behind it was one of these photographic papers of the pools that they have at Yellowstone National Park. And so I thought that brought in some great color. And then I just cut it up and used it around the page because it had so many of the colors. So you can see here, it's on the flip flap and that's behind the flowers. Just a little circle to have a place for the embellishments to land, and then layering some smaller photos over the larger format. And then it's done. So I thought that turned out fun. And that, again, if you have a lot of photos, like I like to take a lot of pictures at botanical gardens because I love all the flowers. And so I just did them in a grid format with squares and rectangles. And these, I want to say they are 2.5 by 2.5 inch photos. So that's how I was able to fit quite a few of them on here, and then the smaller rectangles. So that's just a great way to get a lot of pictures on. And I took the time to space them out there. And then just a 12-inch border sticker there. And then here I grouped all the animals together. My nephew went on this trip with us and he had made a list of all the animals he wanted to see while he was in Colorado. And we saw them all. And I feel like that was just so exciting. So we were driving through Rocky Mountain National Park as the sun was setting. And so the elk came out and the moose. This fox was walking with us along the lake. She never bothered us. And he wanted to see a marmot. Lots of mountain goats and mountain sheep. The only picture I don't have in here is the bear, and I need to print it. But he was getting down because we hadn't seen a bear yet. But as we were driving to one of the parks, believe it or not, a grizzly bear popped out in front of us on the road and was running down the center of the road, and nobody knew what to do in their cars. So we just sat and waited for her or him to get off the road. So I have to put that picture. We don't have a great picture because we were all stunned sitting in the car. Can't believe that we have a grizzly bear in front of us. But anyway, we were able to check off all, or at least most, of the animals that he wanted to see. So that's what this page, the story of this page is. Again, using fall leaves. I wanted to use up some of my stash, so I put the fall leaves in here just based on color. Don't always know what to do with these kinds of papers with the footprints on them, but it was just great to put in, you know, a great use for it right here, just a little bit of it. So if you have busy papers, sometimes just adding a small amount, a small strip, and there you go. And then this is the end page. I try to always do an end page for my albums, especially my travel albums. So this, very simple, didn't do much, did a couple banners, a layered laser cut border, another larger format photo, and then some small ones of the airport. And I think it was the year that the Barbie movie came out. And so I took a picture of the Barbie lunchbox and the thermos. There was a whole display in the airport of all these retro lunchboxes and thermoses. And it just made me think of when I was in elementary school. But anyway, there it is because it was the Barbie movie. But anyway, that is my video for today. I just wanted to take you on a walk through this trip album from 2 years ago and just give you some tips on the Fast to Fab. Again, how they're great for a trip album to get it done quickly without using so much paper. And then they're great for a year in review album if you just want to get things done quickly. And also, if you're not sure, you know, you're new to scrapbooking, you're just not sure what all to do, Fast to Fab takes a lot of the guesswork out and just makes it easier for putting an album together. And honestly, I had never used Fast to Fab until this album, and so I wanted to try it and see how it worked. I have a lot left over. I have a few pages left over, so I may use that. I may take these out and use them in my next Colorado album. And then also just using larger format photos like I showed you in here. Don't be afraid to get 8.5 by 11s. It still leaves plenty of space on a page. And then using inset photos on it. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. Please give this video a like or a thumbs up. and subscribe. I'd love for you to join me on this journey. I am a Creative Memories consultant in the upstate of South Carolina. You can find me at creativememories.com and just look up my name, Carrie Wallace, there. And again, thank you for joining me at Scrapbook Your Legacy. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.